What if I told you that there's a creature living in your house right now that can see dimensions you can't even imagine exist, that can feel invisible presences, detect energies that completely escape your senses, and that maybe, just maybe, is protecting you from things you don't even know exist? You're probably thinking of ghosts, spirits, or something supernatural. But no, I'm talking about your cat. Yes, that creature that spends hours staring at empty corners, that gets spooked for no apparent reason, that purrs during your most difficult moments, as if it knows exactly what you need. If you want to discover the spiritual secrets your cat is hiding, hit that like button now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because what you're about to discover will forever change the way you see these extraordinary beings. For decades, millions of people around the world have reported unexplainable experiences with their cats. Cats that seem to see invisible things, that behave strangely before important events, that show an almost supernatural ability for emotional healing. But could there be a deeper explanation for these phenomena? The answer may lie in the words of a man who dedicated his entire life to unraveling the mysteries of the unseen world. A man whose visions and insights changed the lives of thousands of people. And his revelations about cats, well, they might just revolutionize everything you believe about these feline companions. Get ready, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover truths that will make you look at your cat with completely new eyes. Truths that might explain why you feel so connected to it, why its presence brings so much comfort, and why sometimes you get the feeling that it knows things you don't. To understand these extraordinary revelations, we need to go back in time. We need to meet Edgar Cayce, a man who forever changed our understanding of the spiritual world and who left profound insights into the nature of cats. Edgar Cayce was no ordinary man. Born in 1877 in Kentucky, he had an ability that defied all scientific logic of the time. Cayce could enter a deep trance state and, in that state, access information that seemed to come from a higher source, a universal consciousness that knew secrets about life, death, healing, and the deepest mysteries of existence. For over 40 years, Cayce gave more than 14,000 documented psychic readings. Doctors, scientists, everyday people, they all sought his guidance. And the most impressive part, many of his revelations about health and healing were later confirmed by modern science, decades after his death. But Cayce didn't just talk about medicine and physical healing. He revealed deep truths about the spiritual nature of life, about the invisible connections between all living beings, and about creatures that serve as bridges between our world and higher dimensions. And that's exactly what he discovered about cats. Between 1932 and 1944, Cayce gave a series of specific readings about domestic animals, with a special focus on felines. These readings weren't just about animal behavior. They were profound revelations about the spiritual role these creatures play in our lives. Revelations that, when you hear them, will make sense in a way that will give you chills. What made Cayce so special wasn't just his psychic ability, but his accuracy. His medical readings had an accuracy rate that impressed even the most skeptical doctors. His predictions about future events came true with a frequency that defied the odds, and his insights into the spiritual nature of life, well, they continue to transform lives to this day. Virginia Beach, March 15, 1932. The morning sun filters through the white linen curtains of Edgar Cayce's office, creating golden patterns that dance gently on the light wood walls. The air carries the salty scent of the nearby ocean, mixed with the delicate fragrance of jasmine flowers growing in the garden. Cayce is lying on the brown leather sofa, his hands crossed over his chest, his breathing deep and rhythmic. Beside him, Gladys Davis, his faithful secretary, has her fingers poised over the typewriter keys, waiting for the first words to come from the deep trance. The room is in absolute silence, except for the soft ticking of the wall clock and the distant sound of waves breaking on the shore. It is in this moment of sacred stillness that something extraordinary is about to happen. Mrs. Eleanor Hartwick had traveled from Baltimore specifically for this consultation. Her request was unusual, even by Cayce's standards. She wanted to understand why her cat, Whiskers, showed behaviors she could only describe as supernatural. "Mr. Cayce, She had explained in the letter sent weeks earlier, "My cat seems to see things that aren't there. He spends hours staring at empty corners, sometimes even chasing something invisible. But the strangest thing is how he always appears when I need comfort, as if he knows exactly when my soul is crying out for peace." Now, as Cayce breathes deeper and his waking consciousness fades, giving way to the higher source of knowledge, Mrs. Hartwick wrings her hands nervously. She has no idea that she is about to hear revelations that go beyond her cats, revelations about the very nature of spiritual protection. Cayce's voice, when it finally emerges, is different, deeper, with a rhythmic cadence that seems to come from another time, another place, and the first words he speaks make Mrs. Hartwick lean forward, her eyes wide with surprise and recognition. "Yes, we see this entity," Cayce's voice begins, referring to Mrs. Hartwick's cat. "This feline soul that has chosen to walk beside this woman is not here by chance. There is a divine purpose, a spiritual mission that transcends what physical eyes can see." Hartwick feels a chill run down her spine. In the weeks leading up to the consultation, she had gone through one of the most difficult periods of her life. Her husband had passed away unexpectedly, leaving her alone in a house that suddenly felt too big and too quiet. It was in this context of deep pain that Whisker's behavior became even more intriguing. This feline, Cayce continues, serves as a spiritual guardian. Its sensitivity to subtle energies allows it to detect presences that seek to comfort and protect those who are in mourning. What this woman interprets as strange behavior are in fact interactions with beings of light who have come to offer support during this period of transition. Tears begin to stream down Mrs. Hartwick's face. She vividly remembers the night when, desperate with loneliness, she had sat on the living room floor sobbing. It was then that Whiskers appeared, not just to sit beside her, but to purr with an intensity she had never experienced before. The sound seemed to pass through her skin, reaching directly into her broken heart, bringing an inexplicable peace. The purr, the revelation continues through Cayce, is not just an expression of contentment. It is a healing frequency that resonates with the energy centers of the human body. When a feline purrs near someone in emotional distress, it is literally transmitting healing energy, helping to harmonize the chakras misaligned by pain. But the story becomes even more touching when Cayce reveals something that makes Mrs. Hartwick cover her mouth with her hands in shock. This feline soul, he says, has been connected to this woman in previous existences. There is a karmic bond that unites them, a spiritual contract of mutual protection that transcends a single lifetime. The revelation explains why, from the first day Whiskers appeared in her garden, an injured kitten she rescued from the rain, she felt an instant and deep connection. It wasn't just compassion for an animal in need, it was the recognition of a familiar soul. But Mrs. Hartwick's consultation was just the beginning. What Cayce revealed in the following sessions was even more extraordinary. And if you think you've heard it all about the powers of cats, get ready to discover something that will completely revolutionize your understanding. 3 months later, in June of 1932, a case came to Cayce's office that would leave even his most experienced assistants perplexed. Thomas Mitchell, a businessman from New York, brought with him a story that seemed like something out of a horror movie, but would turn out to be one of the most powerful demonstrations of feline spiritual capabilities ever documented. "My house is being haunted," Mitchell had written in his request letter. "Objects move on their own, temperatures drop drastically in certain rooms, and my family is terrified. But there's something peculiar. My 2 cats, Shadow and Luna, seem to be fighting an invisible battle against these presences. They position themselves strategically around the house, like soldiers in a war only they can see." When Cayce entered a trance for this specific reading, something different happened. His breathing became more agitated, as if he himself could feel the turbulent energies infesting the Mitchells' home. And then, with a voice filled with urgency, he began to reveal a truth that would forever change our understanding of the role of felines in our spiritual protection. "These feline entities," Cayce declared, "are not just pets. They are spiritual warriors, guardians assigned to protect the home and its inhabitants from negative influences that exist in dimensions parallel to ours. Their spiritual sight is about 7 times sharper than that of humans, allowing them to detect and combat presences that seek to create discord and fear. Mitchell leaned forward, fascinated. He had noticed exactly that. Whenever the paranormal activities intensified, Shadow and Luna would position themselves as if facing invisible enemies, their backs arched, fur on end, making sounds he had never heard before. "What you are observing," Cayce continued, "is an ancient battle between light and darkness. Your cats are channeling protective energy from higher realms, creating an energetic shield around your family. Every meow, every seemingly random movement, every strategic placement around the house is part of a protection ritual they perform instinctively." But then came the revelation that would make Mitchell question everything he thought he knew about reality. These beings did not choose your family by chance. They were sent by your spiritual guides, who recognized the need for extra protection during this period of vulnerability in your lives. Now you might be thinking, this sounds very mystical. Where's the science behind these claims? And this is where the story gets even more fascinating, because modern science is starting to validate many of Cayce's revelations in surprising ways. Let's start with something you can check right now: the frequency of a cat's purr. Recent scientific research has discovered that cats purr at specific frequencies, typically between 20 and 50 hertz. Coincidence? Hardly. These are the exact frequencies that modern medicine uses to accelerate bone healing, reduce pain and inflammation, and promote tissue regeneration. Dr. Elizabeth von Muggenthaler, a specialist in bioacoustics, conducted extensive studies that prove the vibration of the purr stimulates the production of growth hormones and speeds up healing processes. But what she didn't know, and what Cayce had revealed decades earlier, is that these frequencies also affect human energy fields in ways science is just beginning to understand. In 1935, another consultation with Cayce brought even more specific revelations about the sensory capabilities of felines. Dr. Richard Pemberton, a doctor from Boston, wanted to understand why his cat always seemed to know when his patients were close to death, positioning itself beside them hours before they passed away. Feline creatures, Cayce explained during the trance, can detect changes in the bioelectric fields that precede the soul's transition. Their ability to perceive changes in energy frequencies is approximately 1,000 times greater than that of humans. They sense the approach of death not as an end, but as an energetic transformation that requires companionship and comfort. Today we know that cats have extraordinary sensory organs. Their whiskers can detect changes in atmospheric pressure so subtle that they allow them to predict earthquakes. Their ears pick up ultrasonic frequencies imperceptible to humans. And their eyes? They can see in light conditions 6 times lower than what we need. But perhaps the most impressive is the recent discovery about the vomeronasal organ in felines, a sensory structure that allows them to taste molecules in the air and detect pheromones and chemical changes that indicate emotional states and even health conditions in other living beings. What you're about to discover now is something very few people in the world know. For decades, this information was restricted to the private archives of the Cayce family, considered too sensitive for public release. But recently, new documents have been released revealing what might be the most extraordinary discovery about the spiritual nature of cats. In 1938, Cayce gave a reading that he himself requested be kept secret for at least 50 years. The reason? The revelations were so profound and potentially transformative that he feared humanity wasn't ready to fully comprehend them. This reading was requested by a group of esoteric students who wanted to understand the true origin of domestic cats and their role in the spiritual development of humanity. What Cayce revealed on that autumn afternoon would forever change this small circle of initiates' understanding of our relationship with these extraordinary beings. Felines, Cayce began in a deep trance, are not native to this plane of existence. They are interdimensional beings who have chosen to inhabit physical forms to serve as a bridge between the material world and higher spiritual realms. Their domestication by humans was not a natural process of evolution, but rather a cosmic agreement established millennia ago. The room fell into absolute silence. Even Gladys Davis, accustomed to Cayce's most extraordinary revelations, stopped typing for a few seconds, processing what she had just heard. Every feline that enters a human's life, the revelation continued, brings with it a specific mission. Some come to teach about unconditional love, others for energetic protection, and a select few, the most spiritually evolved, come as direct teachers, guiding their human companions through life lessons that are essential for the soul's growth. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. Cayce explained that felines have the ability to access what he called the Akashic Records, a cosmic library that contains all information about all souls and their journeys through multiple incarnations. When your cat looks directly into your eyes, Cayce revealed, it is reading your soul. It knows your past lives, your pending lessons, your deepest fears, and your highest potential. That is why the connection you feel with it transcends logical explanation. It literally knows who you are on a cosmic level. This information remained hidden for decades, known only to a small group of dedicated researchers. Now, for the first time, these secrets are being revealed to the public. And the reason is simple. Humanity is finally ready to understand and accept these transformative truths. Now stop and think for a moment. How many times have you had the feeling that your cat knows exactly how you're feeling? How many times has it appeared out of nowhere at the exact moment you needed company the most? Or when you came home after a terrible day and found those eyes fixed on you, as if it were saying, I know, and I'm here. These experiences are not a coincidence. They are direct manifestations of what Cayce revealed about the telepathic ability of felines. In a 1940 reading, he explained how this communication works. Felines communicate through what you would call a collective consciousness. They can feel the emotional vibrations of humans from a considerable distance and respond instinctively to these needs. Sarah Williams, a nurse from Chicago, experienced this dramatically. She had lost her job during the Great Depression and was going through a period of deep depression. One night, while contemplating dark thoughts in her kitchen, her cat Midnight did something she had never seen before. He started purring in a different way, she later reported to Cayce. It wasn't the normal purr of contentment. It was deeper, more rhythmic, almost like a chant. And then something unbelievable happened. I felt a wave of peace and hope wash over me, as if someone had literally lifted the weight off my shoulders. Cayce explained that Midnight had detected Sarah's emotional crisis and activated what he called intensive healing mode. The feline consciously altered the frequency of its purr to synchronize with its human companions' energy centers, transmitting healing vibrations directly to her nervous system and auric field. But maybe you've noticed something even more specific. Those moments when your cat seems to be staring at something you can't see. It stands still, observing an empty corner, sometimes even following something invisible with its gaze. Most people assume it's bugs or just light reflections. But Cayce revealed a much deeper truth. Felines constantly see spiritual presences, he explained in a 1942 consultation. Their physical eyes are tuned to capture light frequencies that are beyond the human visible spectrum. When your cat observes a seemingly empty space, it is seeing spiritual guides, deceased loved ones, or other entities that regularly visit homes where there is love and harmony. This revelation explains why so many people report that their cats seem to greet invisible visitors, purring or rubbing against the air. They are literally interacting with beings from other dimensions who come to offer protection, guidance, or simply express love for the inhabitants of the house. And there's something even more fascinating. The ability of felines to serve as translators between worlds. Margaret Foster, a 78-year-old widow, sought out Cayce because she was convinced her late husband was trying to communicate with her through her cat, Oliver. Every time I think of Henry, she explained, Oliver appears and does something specific. He goes to my husband's favorite armchair and starts purring as if he's talking to someone I can't see. Sometimes it even seems like he's responding to a voice. Cayce confirmed her suspicions. Henry's spirit uses Oliver's psychic sensitivity to communicate. The feline serves as a conduit, allowing messages and energies from the spiritual plane to reach the physical plane. When Oliver purrs in the armchair, He is translating Henry's presence and love in a way that Margaret can feel, even if she can't see it. Everything you believed about your relationship with your cat was incomplete. Until now, you probably saw this relationship as a simple exchange. You offer food, shelter, and affection, and you receive companionship and affection in return. But the truth revealed by Cayce is infinitely deeper and more transformative. Your cat isn't just a pet. It is a spiritual teacher, an interdimensional guardian, an energy healer, and a facilitator of personal growth. Every interaction you have is a lesson in unconditional love, conscious presence, and connection with something greater than ourselves. Think about it. When was the last time your cat judged you for your flaws? When did it stop offering affection because you had a bad day, made a mistake, or didn't meet its expectations? Never. This is the first lesson they came to teach. True love is unconditional and doesn't need to be earned. The second lesson is about presence. Watch your cat when it's relaxed. It's not worried about what happened yesterday or anxious about tomorrow. It is completely present in the current moment, fully absorbed in the experience of being. This is one of the most difficult spiritual skills for humans to develop, but one that felines demonstrate naturally. In 1943, Cayce gave a reading that would forever change a teacher named Dorothy Chen's understanding of her role as a caretaker of cats. Dorothy had rescued more than 20 cats throughout her life and wanted to understand why she felt so compelled to help them. This soul, Cayce revealed, is fulfilling a spiritual contract established before her current incarnation. She agreed to serve as a gateway for feline souls who need to experience human love to complete their own evolutionary journeys. Every cat she rescues is not by chance. It is a planned reunion on the spiritual plane. But the most transformative revelation came when Cayce explained that the relationship is reciprocal in ways Dorothy couldn't even imagine. While she offers love and physical care, each feline she welcomes is actively working on her spiritual development. They are healing past life traumas stored in her auric field, balancing her chakras, and preparing her for higher levels of consciousness. This perspective completely revolutionizes our understanding of caring for animals. We are not just providers. We are participants in a cosmic dance of mutual healing and spiritual evolution. Each cat that enters our life brings specific gifts, lessons our soul needs to learn, healing our heart needs to receive, and experiences that prepare us to become higher versions of ourselves. Cayce also revealed that felines serve as spiritual antennas for their human companions. They amplify the intuitive ability of their caregivers, he explained, making it easier for humans to receive spiritual guidance, premonitions, and insights into their lives. This explains why many people report becoming more intuitive, more sensitive to energies, and more spiritually aware after developing deep relationships with felines. It's not imagination. It's a real transformation facilitated by the presence of these silent teachers. From this day forward, when you look at your cat, remember, you are not just seeing a beautiful and affectionate animal. You are looking at a being who consciously chose to be part of your spiritual journey, who knows your soul better than any therapist ever could, and who is working 24 hours a day for your protection, healing, and evolution. Now that you know these profound truths about the spiritual nature of cats, the question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? How can you honor and deepen this sacred connection you've discovered exists? First, start observing your cat with new eyes. Pay attention to the behavioral patterns you once considered random or unimportant. When it positions itself in certain places in the house, when it purrs in different ways, when it seems to be interacting with invisible presences, these are all moments of spiritual activity that you can now recognize and appreciate. Practice conscious gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, take a moment to silently thank your feline for its presence in your life. Acknowledge that it chose to be with you not by chance, but out of love and divine purpose. This simple act of recognition strengthens the energetic connection between you and allows it to work even more effectively on your healing and protection. Create moments of conscious connection. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly with your cat, without distractions from television, your phone, or other worries. Look into its eyes and allow yourself to feel the depth of the connection that exists between you. Many people find that these moments become the most peaceful and centered parts of their day. If these revelations have touched your heart and transformed your understanding of felines, show it by liking this video, sharing it with other cat lovers who need to know these truths, and subscribing to the channel for more spiritual discoveries that can change your life. But remember, knowledge without application is just information. Cayce's revelations about cats are not just fascinating tidbits. They are invitations to a richer, more spiritually connected life, more aware of the miracles that surround us daily. Start today to see your home not just as a place where you live with your cat, but as a sacred temple where two souls have met to grow together. Recognize that every purr is a blessing, every gaze is a transmission of love, and every moment of closeness is an opportunity for you both to evolve spiritually. Subscribe to the channel and hit that like button to get access to more stories like this. The world needs more people who understand these profound truths about our connection with animals. By sharing these discoveries, you are not just spreading knowledge. You are helping to raise the collective consciousness of humanity about our place in the great tapestry of life. Your cat didn't come to you by accident. It was sent. And now that you know this, your journey together will never be the same.